Gracias. I mean, as I was listening, you know, it's very emotional. It's an incredible experience. The only thing that I say is because I have so many wonderful friends and supporters, like Carlos and Alfredo and Tony and all of them. To me, when I see this award, I really want to accept it on behalf of the entire community. That's what it means to me. It has to be entire. People, when I'm interviewed, they ask me, you know, is this a dream come true? And the answer is no. I never dreamed of this. I mean, to dream about it, you would say, well, I expect it to happen. And never expected it to happen. So it's more of a shock come true than a dream. But of course, that doesn't mean I don't want it. It doesn't mean I'm going to give it back. And my wife and I will be in Washington next week, and we'll enjoy a lot of festivities. So, I'm full screen on Carlos. I don't want any of this Mexican confused. Okay. No, I'll get it. That's a great option. He uses a Macintosh. Okay, so I usually start my talk with saying you're a beautiful audience, okay? And I look around, and you are a beautiful audience, okay? So I'll say that you are beautiful. But I say that even when it's not a beautiful audience. but you are, and I really believe that. And it's something that I see, and sometimes I give talks, and you don't see the diversity in it. You just see it. In fact, once I gave a talk at one university, and I was talking to the students, and I came in, and they sort of looked like I was shocked. And this was not long ago at a university, and they said, "What's wrong?" And I said, "The audience." Well, what's wrong? I said, "Everyone here is a white male." And I said, "I'm not used to that." And they said to me, "We have a woman, but she was sick and she didn't show." So anyway, so this is crisis in higher education. I've been talking about these issues a lot, so let's go forward. And we'll start off with who am I? The issue of identity. To me, growing up in this country with parents from Mexico, the issue has always been identity, okay? Mexican American. Are you Mexican? If I go to Mexico, they call me gringo, okay? Am I American? They call me Mexican here, okay? The issue of putting together an identity. So I want to share with you who I am. I'm a Chicano, Tejano, mathematician. I relate to all three, okay? All three. And there are things that make me happy, and things that I enjoy, and things that I'm proud of. So let me show you pictures of who I am. Okay? So this is one of the cars that my wife and I own, and this appeared on the cover of Sockmas. And it actually got to the White House when it appeared, because Neil Lane, who's my colleague, told me that Bill Clinton actually picked it up and looked at it and said, "Tell me about this person." Okay, so that was a while back. But I want to show you another picture. Okay. Now look at this. Okay, there's a lot here. Okay? There's American culture. Okay. See, so those of you that are very young, you can't ask your parents about the backseat of the 57 but you can ask your grandparents. Okay? Your grandparents should know about it. But that was the culture that we grew up with, and that is a 57 Chevy, and that is one that we own, and that is me, and that is my wife, Jean. Now, if you look, there's something that's very important, and it's the can of beer. What kind of beer is it? See, it's Tecate. That's the beer of the workers. It's not Corona. You know? See, Corona is the yuppie beer. Okay? If I were drinking a Corona there, the picture would be of no value. Okay? It's Tecate. That's the one that you put limon with. Okay? All right, let's talk a bit. My mother. born in Chihuahua, Mexico, lived 75 years in Los Angeles, California. Very proud and very pro-Mexico and very pro-California. So she died 2 years ago, but right before she died, we had a conversation. And it went like this. She always called me honey. Okay? She says, honey, California has always had a great education system. Mom, you're 50 years out of date. Today, California's at the bottom, not the top. What happened, honey? The Golden State became brown. In 1950, what you're thinking about, we're less than 7% of California was Hispanic. Now it's over 40%, and Los Angeles public schools, we are greater than 75%. That's created a problem. So my mother goes and says, but we Mexicans are smart. Look at you. Yes, but in the United States, it just doesn't work that way. Why is that? I'm not completely sure, but it has to do with our own culture, our own value system, inner city America's culture, the value system, big city public education, and many other confusing things. And this was an honest conversation we had. My mother was still living in California 50 years ago. Mom, it's really changed. Not just California, the whole country. So, let's see what's next. Mother, can we fix that? I'm not sure, but we'll try. Okay, honey, please try. So let's look at a little bit of status quo. So this is a slide of Texas, okay? Now I could have put one of the United States, and it's not really a whole bunch different, but anyway, I put Texas because it tends to upset some people. Well, let's see what it says, okay? So the ones that are in yellow is what I want you to understand. See, today, 47% of the population of Texas is white, 37% is Hispanic, 12% is black, 4% Asian. And notice that in 10 years, it's going to be 43-43. So if I go forward, the white population of Texas is dropping 5% per decade. The Hispanic population is going up 5%. Interestingly enough, the black population in Texas is dropping 1% per decade. Asia is going up 1%. So in a little over 100 years, there'll be no whites in Texas. There'll be no blacks in Texas. Hispanics will be 85% of the population, and Asians will be 15%. Okay? That's if you believe in linear extrapolation. Now, I actually had in the audience, when I showed this slide, somebody come up and say, no, that's not going to happen. And I said, tell them, that's a joke. It's a joke. But it's not a complete joke. Brown, the browning of America. So, white Texan. I don't like this, so I'm going to leave the state that I love and go to another state. Rat. Lo siento mucho, señor, but you can't run away from this. It doesn't matter where you go. Okay? The Browning of America, press release. The Pew Hispanic Center, July 2011 says, the Mexican-American boom. For the first time in history, births overtake immigration. This is, an important point. More Mexicans born in the United States that are coming in from across the border. That's important. So here's some of the reasons. So look at this. What these charts show, I'll just tell you, and the one on the left, for every non-Hispanic that dies, 1.5 are born. Okay? For every Hispanic that dies, 8.5 are born. Okay? So what do you think? We're romantic people. We're very young population. But that's what's happening, is that essentially, okay? Now, this is the 5 states that are growing the fastest in terms of Hispanic. So if you think of Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, and California, look, Arkansas, Georgia, South Carolina, Tennessee, North Carolina. Those are states that are going fast. It's going to be all the states. All right? So the statement about, for the first time in history, we have more births than immigration, reminded me of something. Deja vu. 1968. Okay? So In 1968, with a fresh PhD in mathematics from UCLA, Richard Tapia and family went to Madison, Wisconsin for a postdoctoral position at the University of Wisconsin. That's my wife, Jean. That's me. That's our 63 Chevy. That's my late daughter, Cersei, and our son, Richard. And this was on the way to Wisconsin. Now, what can we say about this? Today, I heard one person say she was a dancer. Who's a dancer? Okay. So look, Jean was a dancer. She studied at New York City Ballet. So look at the way she's standing. She's standing in third position. Okay? All dancers stand in third position because the first position makes you look like a duck. And second position is not ladylike, so you can always take it in third position. Okay? So that makes Jean an authentic dancer. Okay? And I didn't really realize that until I started looking at the picture. Okay? But when we got to Wisconsin, I saw in the Sunday paper, for the first time in history, there are more people in Wisconsin than there are cows. And we said, this is really important. It's probably the four of us that came in. So we said, wow, this is important. This is important. We outnumber cows. And so the trouble with this country today is that there are too many Mexicans and not enough cows. This is the way the world used to be. That's what's happening now. It looks like Carlos. Now, who said that? Okay, I can credit it to somebody, okay, but I would just insult people like that. But I mean, I think I heard it on TV. I think it was. So that was the background, 68, and I showed you that 57, and I actually did. I mean, Jean and I did date in the 57 Chevy. But this is today's toy, and I want to talk a bit about it. This is the 70 Chevelle that Jean and I own, called Heavy Metal, 3-time national champion. It's very current, and a couple of things about it. It's allowed me to continue to be who I am and who I grew up. And so I want to say to people as we become mathematicians and professors and stuff, you don't have to lose your identity. I mean, Jean and I mean, Jean loves this car every bit, maybe more than I do. So this thing has won 3 national championships. We show it all over the country. Now, there's a couple of things here I'll show you. For example, see the monster? Some of you may recognize that comes from Eddie from Iron Maiden. Okay, we just modified it. The flames on the side were done by one of my Chicano graduate students, Joseph Cifuentes. Okay. Now, Randy, who built the car, said this is a hot rod. So I want to put traditional stripes. And I said, no, I want a monster, and I want flames like this. That was, and see what Randy said. Randy's a great car builder in Houston, Texas. He said, Richard, that's going to make it look too ethnic, okay? And I said, but Randy, I am ethnic. And so we had a lot of stuff. And so this is borderline lowrider. To prove it, at the Houston show, lowrider show. So we go to the hot rod show, then we go to the lowrider. This thing won every award except best lowrider, okay? Because it was just enough. That's who we are. People that can transition into one group and another group. And so, sure, am I a lowrider? Did I build a? No. But you should see some Mexican, American, Chicano flavoring in the whole thing. Huh?
How was the car aspirated?
It's got a Corvette engine with it is really good. Okay. So it's got an LT4 Grand Sport Corvette engine. Okay, so how are we minorities doing? Okay? So look at this. Let's see if I can go over here a bit. Yeah, I'll go maybe over here. Maybe over here. All right. So here's this. Look, educational attainment in 2000 in Texas for persons 25 years of age. So the blue line is the Hispanic. The yellow is black. Blue-green, Anglo, red Asian. So what do we do best, okay? The first line is what we Hispanics do best. We own dropping out of high school. Nobody can do that. We own that.